What's up, buddy? So today we're taking a look at Need for Speed 3 and which settings looks the best for this game in DuckStation. So we are starting here with the default settings. So the internal resolution is 1x or native resolution, and dithering is turned off or is set to true color, and the scaling here is bilinear smooth. And well, I guess this is somewhat faithful to how it looks on original hardware here. Doesn't say exactly look amazing, but no, this works alright. Well, first thing, let's try to just increase the internal resolution. So let's go for 4K here, which is this recording's resolution. And yeah, there we go. Everything is a lot more crisper here, definitely. And well, we also have quite a lot of kind of the geometry, or the 3D objects can kind of bubble around here. Yeah, we can definitely see that in the cliffs here, for example. So yeah, that's definitely something there. But we do have geometry correction here. Oh, hello. We do have geometry correction here in DuckStation, so let's turn that on. And that fixed that a lot, or that make the 3D objects look a lot better. However, we can kind of see how the textures kind of broke a little bit here when we did that. So yeah, that's not ideal. Maybe not the worst thing here, but well, let's see if we can do something about that. If we go into here, and then we have perspective correct textures there. If we turn that off there, that should work there. However, we still have some warping here, which given that we turned off the correction thing there. But other than this 4K here looks actually fairly well here. Usually not the biggest fan of just increasing the internal resolution. Some things kind of stick out a lot, and I guess some things do here. But for the most part, this is fairly consistent in terms of how the graphics looks here, so I think it still works pretty well here. But let's try some other things. So we could, for example, well, we could start here with just turning on the dithering here, see how that looks. There we go. And yeah, that didn't do much at all actually. Not sure how much this game has at all of that. Well, it was definitely not noticeable here. Let's go back again. There we go. Well, it's slightly brighter, I guess, but that was about it. So yeah, for this I'm just gonna keep that turned off, or it's set to true color. Next up, let's try downsampling here. So there we go. I'm still keeping the 4K internal resolution, and this is then downsampled back to native resolution. And well, this could be a pretty good alternative to the default settings here. And well, everything blends in a lot better here, so we don't have, well, it's not as noticeable with the trees there, for example, which kind of sticks out here when we have a very good internal resolution. So yeah, you do get a more consistent graphics here. One thing to also try here would be if we change the scaling from bilinear smooth to nearest neighbor, which gives a more pixelated look here. And yeah, I think I would probably prefer the more blurry bilinear smooth here, but it still works alright here, I would say. See if we can get to this part here where we also have those trees there. Those kind of stick out a bit. So let's see, I'm going back to bilinear smooth, and yeah, I think this looks a little bit better here. Another thing I usually find to work pretty well is another setting, so let's try that. So I'm gonna turn off downsampling, and I'm gonna change the internal resolution to 2x here. There we go. And then under advanced settings, and I'm gonna turn on multi-sampling here. And this is the one I find to work the best here. So when we do this, we do have still pretty good detail for the 3D objects, but we do have some of this blurriness here that we get from a lower resolution. so things kind of blends in a little bit better here. And well, I would say this is what I prefer the most here. However, just going with 4K and just a good internal resolution also works quite well for this game. So yeah, that's also a pretty good option there. Anyway, last thing to also try here would be widescreen rendering here. So yeah, let's try that next. Alright, well, here we go. This is 16:9 aspect ratio here, and well, as we can see, we do have some of the world kind of building up here on the edge of the screen there. We'll still say it's doable here, but well, it's not exactly ideal here, I would say. If we increase it even more, we can see it more. Let's see, there we go. This is 20:9 here, so yeah, it is very noticeable here, but not as much there if we go with 16:9. One alternative would be also to use a custom aspect ratio here, so we can get a little bit of widescreen, but not as much. So if we go into aspect ratio and then go into custom aspect ratio, we can set it to whatever we want there, and this is 14:9 here. And well, when we do that, we don't have the world kind of building up on the edge of the screen here, so we still have a little bit of widescreen, but it's not it doesn't cover 16:9 here, but still better than maybe just going with 4:3 there. That would be the default aspect ratio. So yeah, this works very well here. And yeah, this looks pretty nice here with these settings, but given also that the graphics is fairly consistent with this game, so just going with a good internal resolution also works quite well for this game. Anyway, I guess this will be it for this video. You all stay awesome, and I see you in the next one. Bye bye.